Ladies and gentlemen, I'm meadsyreplays. Welcome back to the channel. Now today we are going to look at a tank that everybody wanted but now no longer plays. That is the Type 59. Now this tank has been around for like forever. It was one of the first Chinese tanks in the game, along with the Type 62, and it was a tank that everybody wanted. It's a premium tank, long before the Chinese tanks were in the game. It's always been a fantastic tank. It was always a fantastic tank, and it used to come for sale very rare. It didn't used to come for sale that often, and when it did, people wanted it. Of course, these were the days that it was just for gold, not for crates. Of course, there was no crates back then, and yeah, I mean, I got the tank a very special way. Not a very special way, but Skate Extreme, an old friend of mine, he did a charity stream and he actually gave a few of these away. Now, the way you would be able to earn this was given to the highest donators on the charity stream he did. I donated about £200. and I obviously was one of the highest back then, and I got given the tank. So yeah, this tank was always been special to me because it was given to me from my good friend Skate Extreme, and it was for a good cause. But yeah, you don't really see these a lot now. It's kind of been overshadowed by a lot of tanks, and it's not the same tank that it used to be. It's a shame, because it used to be a really good tank. There was no other tank kind of like it in mediums, and now you've just got so many other tanks that just overlook this tank, and it's been overshadowed and not played. It's not played as often. So the turret is actually really good at 200 millimeters. The hull is 100 millimeters, and it used to be a really strong tank to deal with. I mean, you couldn't deal with it. It used to be a medium tank with average pen. I mean, the pen's not great, but it really had a good turret and armor profile. But now you just get deleted, absolutely wrecked when you play this tank. I went to play it for this video, and I struggled. I really did struggle, and I just really didn't enjoy it. So 2000 DPM, the reload is 8.25. That penetration is 181 on your AP and 241 on your APCR. So the APCR is not bad. Of course, against tier 9s you will struggle, and the HE pen is 50. You've got 280 alpha on your AP, 240 on your APCR, and 350 on your HE. Aim time not good at 4.1, and dispersion not great at 0.353. It does, however, have 7 degrees of gun depression, and it goes 56 kilometers per hour. So quite some time after they released the Type 59, they bring out another tank, the T54 Mod 1. And again, it's the same kind of situation. They were very similar tanks. The Mod 1 had, in my opinion, a better armor profile, but the Type 59 was a bit more mobile than the Mod 1. But both tanks were really good and very difficult to deal with. Now, I'd never be afraid when I come up against a Type 59. I used to be afraid back sort of 7 years ago, but yeah, I mean, how things change is so different to what this tank used to be. It's crazy just how some tanks changed when they were really good. One of the most fought tanks, one of the most sought tanks out there. Everyone wanted a Type 59 back then, and people obviously weren't spending as much money in the game, and most people would probably thought that this was quite expensive back then. Not quite sure how much it used to come for sale, but it used to come for sale for gold, for real money, and of course not tanks, not crates. Never used to be crates back then, which was really good. But that was the day and age back then. That was the old day and age where premium tanks weren't made to be super strong. They were made to make credits, and we have that with a few tanks, you know, like the T-34-85 Rudy. It's a fantastic tank. It was a fun tank to play. It used to be good back then. Now if you play it, you kind of get wrecked. You kind of just get absolutely ripped apart, and that was how Blitz or how Wargaming used to run the game. It used to never be premium tanks, OP premium tanks as such. There were some, or like the IS-6, of course. Probably even now the IS-6 is probably one of the most played tanks ever, because of how often it was played. People used to just spam the IS-6, and this was the same thing. This was one of the premium tanks that was actually really, really good. Not just for making credits, but it was actually really, really good. Of course, even now, just like any tank, I always say it, just like any tank, doesn't matter how bad it is or how good it is, mainly how bad it is, you can still perform well in it, and you've got to get yourself in the right situation. However, you don't perform too well in this tank if you're up against some heavy tanks. If you're up against tier 9s, you don't really perform too well. But when you come up against tier 7s, then it's a different matter, because this is still a strong tank against those tier 7s. Tier 7s do struggle to penetrate you. Of course, you still got to wiggle, you still got to move. If you just sit there, then people will aim at your weak points and your hull. If you can get in a hold down position, or if you can get in sort of side scraping or face hugging, and it's still a strong tank, that you will still get some troll bounces. And again, if you're coming up against these tier 7 tanks, especially these guys in the Dracula, they will struggle to penetrate you out and out. They haven't got the best pens, and you can see he's struggling to penetrate us. So now we are only on 1200 damage. I mean, we haven't done the best damages, but we want to chase this guy. Of course, he is a Dracula, one of the quickest tanks in the game, and still a very good tank. Again, that is another tank that when that tank first come into the game, it was absolutely broken. It was OP, and people tuning them, you just couldn't deal with them. People learn how to deal with them, and over time people learned how to deal with the Type 59. It's just a shame of just how good this tank used to be compared to how it is now. And yeah, I really didn't enjoy playing this tank. I used to love playing this tank, and I used to love playing the mod 1. Now if I roll out in these tanks after a couple of games, I'm kind of bored of them because there's just so much other better tanks. There's so many premium tanks now that Wargaming have released that are just so much better than this. Now, I almost messed this up. I was thinking, you know what, I've got hit points, I've saved my hit points, I'm just going to go and YOLO into that guy, take him out. We obviously bounced, and then we've just been taken care of, no problem. They haven't got an issue, they haven't got a problem with dealing with us, penetrating us, unlike the Dracula did. So let me know your thoughts on the Type 59. Is it a tank that you still play? Do you want to get it? Do you own it but never ever play it, and what do you think of it? Let me know in the comments below. But for now, I hope you enjoyed today's video, guys. I'm meadsyreplays, and I'll catch you all soon. Bye bye. With